Welcome to episode 4 of The Outside Line with me, Jack Bernicle, with my colleague James Whittam, and with James's beautiful little dog, Sprout.
Yeah, we've got a full crew. He's just making sure everything is... he's got a job. I mean, he should be at work now. He's Huddersfield International Airport's head of...
Security?
No, Vermin control.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. But he's moved more into the sort of executive side of that. He doesn't chase much anymore.
Does that mean he's got a squad of minions?
As you can see. In fact, weirdly, I don't run any motocross anymore, right? He's letting me down. I do a little bit of motocross very occasionally because it hurts me now.
Yes.
But I had to go, or I was going to do some, and I was I've got bags with classic race gear, motocross trials gear, all different sort of kit bags. And I got the dusty motocross one out and I opened it just to check everything were in there, because you never know how you put them away. Sometimes you put them away wet and forget and all that. And I was aware of something in the bag scuttling around. So I've obviously got, I mean, we've got horses here and you get rats, right? And they come and go a little bit, and some years you get more than others. And I thought, oh, there's something in there. He sat right at the side of me as I root through this bag, and I lifted a pair of motocross jeans out that was all eaten away and raggedy at the bottom of one leg, and out the other leg a rat fell out. Back into the bag, then jumped out the bag and scuttled across the floor, and he just went, "There's a rat there." he had one job. One job. No, he's executive now.
Look, yeah, that's a restful dog.
It's my daughter Ruby who taught me to get in him, and it's been changed my life. It is really good dog, steady.
What about what's been happening on the racing scene recently? Have you been enjoying what you've been watching? Have you been
trip to get on it? We're gonna have to do something that way, and I don't know what.
You're going to be Hill, you're going to be Hopkins, and they cross the line. It's Hill by 6 thousandths of a second.
The Outside Line podcast, reuniting your hosts, the legendary commentary duo of Jack Bernicle and James Whittam.
But he's not on the right side of him unless he can do it. Oh no! Round the outside.
A quick word of explanation, folks. Thanks to the Northern Power Grid, Mr. Whittam received what was quaintly called a reminder, steady on Sprout, a reminder yesterday that they'd be switching off the power in this area of Huddersfield 4, including Huddersfield International Airport. They've done that, and we're operating on generators kindly supplied by Mr. Whittam. Yeah,
so we've got a Jenny going outside, which is... Right, it's all right at the minute, isn't it? I think, the problem is they're putting some houses in about a mile away, and I think it's part of their putting the services in there. So I think.
Right.
But anyway,
we're getting by. Just to let you know that if we have any further breakdowns, then it's usually a trip generator requiring Mr. Whittam's attention. British Superbikes.
Yep.
Entertaining round at Knockhill, the mixed conditions, reappearance of Scott Redding.
Certainly mixed.
And
water mixed with water.
The delight of Rory Skinner winning a race for Philip Neal's team.
Overview for me is we're only, 5 rounds into BSB now. I think 4th round at Knockhill, I think. So we're not even, as we sit halfway through, as opposed to World Superbike that's sort of 2/3 through, where not even half. It's been really entertaining generally. Bradbury's been exceptional everywhere. I think it was 9 out of 11 races, best start to a season anybody's ever had. Bear in mind they're getting 3 races. You're comparing it to when they had 2 races in a weekend, not 3, so it's kind of, you're not comparing apples to apples, I guess. But been really entertaining. He's been exceptional, not been really pushed. Knockhill was a challenge for everybody, but for Brad, mainly because of where they were coming and going. Would have been so easy to make a bad tyre choice and cost yourself a win there, or just think I've got a bit of a lead in the championship now, you know, and feel a bit of pressure because he didn't want to fall off or whatever, but he had an exceptional meeting, 1-2, looked reasonably dominant again. It was a perfect meeting for him. Sketchy weather-wise, it came. I feel so sorry for him at Knockhill. It's an independent circuit. It's not an MSV circuit. They've got to pay to host the meeting, so it's a big commitment for them.
Yes.
Obviously, the payback is they get a big crowd in and they make it work.
Yeah.
And it's prestige of having BSB at their circuit, etc. And it was a bad weekend weather-wise, but they'd had the same 5 or 6 weeks of good weather that the whole country'd had.
Yes.
They'd had that.
Yes.
They'd had 6 weeks of good weather.
Yeah.
And when it was rough up there, it was rough everywhere in the country, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But everybody who goes up there once a year for BSB goes, it's always crap up here. Well, it is when we go. But that's not to say they didn't have that good weather we had.
But that's like those buggers from the continent who thought that who couldn't believe how good the weather was at Donegal. God, we're not used to this in the UK. But we are quite used to this in the UK.
Yeah,
Thank you very
it's
much.
exactly the same. And the same weekends as that were going on at Knockhill, Silverstone were hosting F1 Grand Prix and they had to cancel races.
Yes.
Because of rain.
Yes.
So they were a little bit unlucky. I feel a bit sorry for them that way because it is their biggest meeting of the year, that and touring car.
Did they have a decent crowd?
They had a good crowd. They had a
Yes.
really good crowd. And they got what they wanted to see in one of the Superbike races. In that, their local hero, Rory Skinner from just up the road in Perth, managed to win. And it wasn't a lucky win. It was a good old win. He got stuck in. He got the job done. Donington's where he started going really quite well. Had a reasonable meeting at Snetterton. Brilliant meeting up at Knockhill. Really competitive. And we thought, right, so the team's found their feet with this bike. The cat is different to run. It's not a four-cylinder bike. It's really quirky in the way you've got to set it up, single-sided swing arm, all the rest of it. Not only does Rory have to get used to riding it, team have to get used to giving him what he wants. And with no data, that's quite difficult and takes time. So we felt, coming away from Knockhill, that they'd really found the sort of groove, you know.
Why is Brands Hatch such an oddball of a circuit for carrying that on then?
It's not any more oddball than any other BSB circuits.
Yes.
They're all oddball circuits. They're all
Yes.
different. Can you imagine anything as different as, let's say, Thruxton and Cadwell or Thruxton
Yes.
and Knockhill or Knockhill and Brands Hatch? So it is oddball, but they all are. I would have thought Knockhill was the one that was probably more oddball than Brands Hatch, really, in terms of its
But
nature.
Rory knows that rather well, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
he does. I think they struggled a little bit. The bike wasn't just how he wanted it there. He tried really hard. Ran on a lot, missed little bits and bobs, couldn't get it in, ran sort of wide in corners and just looked like he was rushing at it a bit, which made it look worse. He wasn't that uncompetitive, but just not as competitive as what we've seen him. And with a bit of luck, he can come back at Thruxton and find something. Although the problem at Thruxton has been the V4 Panigale has always struggled a little bit there.
Yes.
I mean, last couple of years, people like Glenn Irwin and Tommy Bridewell and others have said that the bike on the side of the tyre, which Thruxton's all side of the tyre, it's all big, fast corners. There's hardly any straight bits. They really struggle. Ducati's a lot better, apparently, in the sort of stop, turn, accelerate corners. And it's got speed, but none of that works at Thruxton, apparently, with that bike. So we'll see. It might not be the place for Rory to get his season going again.
Knockhill was a place where Fraser Rogers got his season going again. I've been quite impressed in speaking to him at Alton Park by his conviction that they could get into the top 10 on a regular basis. He felt with that team, with the Tag Honda team, and he just needed a bit of a change in fortune, and it would happen. And Knockhill certainly provided that.
Yeah,
and he's a point behind Scott Redding in the championship now. Scott's moved 1 point past him after winning it.
You get the feeling that Scott's probably going to be.
Oh yes, moving on.
Yeah, Fraser Rogers, we all like him. Really brave man. He'll ride injured. I mean, he broke both his legs in a motocross accident last year, and still wanted to ride. And why he wanted to ride, we've no idea. But hey, and a nice fella as well. Not short of confidence, but he's got confidence in a non-cocky way.
Yes.
And he keeps doing enough to give you a little bit of belief in his confidence, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But all really pleased to see his first podium in BSB. It was sketchy conditions, yes, and he rode really well and he stuck his neck out and he pulled it off. Very, very emotional. I mean, he came and talked to us in front of the camera in the wrap-up at the end of the day.
Oh, did he?
Oh, and he's yelping. Proper
Oh,
cry.
was he?
Oh, boys were going everywhere. And ours was then. We were all at it. So it's good, and we like to see that.
Yeah.
Man's passionate about what he does.
Yeah.
So that was really good. Mentioning dispatches from Knockhill before we turn attentions to brands. A kid called Joe Talbot. Joe
Yes.
was going to be the third man in the OMG team
Yeah.
that fell apart.
Yes.
Obviously, last man in, first man out. He was the rider that wasn't going to get, a team made up around
Yes.
him to continue his superbike career that he didn't have, because it would have been his first year. So he went from having an unbelievable ride at his point in his career on what is a winning Yamaha superbike to all that going away and him going and riding a Binge Pro. That's a good team, but obviously a lower order team than OMG in Super Sport. He struggled with getting to grips with the V2 Ducati up to now. 6th, 7th. I know he's got a lot of talent, as do the rest of the paddock. And he turned it around at Knockhill and continued that form on at
Yes, he
on
did.
at Brands.
Yes.
Joe's a good kid, tough kid. His training is, he thinks a bit different. He does a bit of cycling, like they all do to keep fit, but he does also a lot of boxing, proper boxing, not just a bit of boxing training. Oh no, but he gets stuck in. And I said to him once, boxing? He says, good training. I said, yeah, but...
France's first ever world motocross champion, Jackie Vermin, 1986.
Boxer?
He used to use boxing training.
Yeah, but this is boxing training, that's what I'm saying.
I know, but the fact that
I've had girlfriends that do boxing training, and to be fair, a couple of them you won't want to box with. But this isn't boxing training, Jack. This is smashing somebody in and getting punched in the face, proper stuff. No head guards, nothing. Dun.
Is this wise?
I said that. Is this wise? He goes, well, it's 20 minutes of getting hurt and going mad, just like racing. That's what he said. That's exactly what he said. And I thought, yeah, that's
20 minutes of going mad.
So I like him. He's a good lad, and I think he can make it work in Supersport. I hope he does.
Time for a game. Time for some Revs Roulette.
Revs Roulette, powered by Net Performance.
So it's... Oh, well done, Sprout.
How are you doing?
So it's that moment, ladies and gentlemen, Revs Roulette, where Mr. Whittam, and I say Mr. Whittam rather than myself, has to listen to the sound of a lap of a British Superbike track, and his wisdom will prepare him for deciding where that track is, which track that is. Now, remember, we've had 3 already, I believe, in this. We've had Snetterton, we've had Thruxton, we've had Brands Hatch. So it can't be one of them. Let's go.
Right, let's have a go. Slow. All fairly slow stuff.
Yeah, very slow. Where starts off as slow as that?
That's a slow first section. Really slow corner. Fast. Still, there's one little bit of straight. Then back to second and third gear stuff. Really slow against. Fast now, this is all 4th gear stuff.
What do you reckon, Sprout?
Sprouty reckons, right, little bit of a straight with a start and finish, not the longest start and finish straight.
No.
They're all slow stuff.
Yes.
So steady, not hairpin stuff, but it's like second, third gear, hardly any revs. So you're in the corner the whole time. Then a really slow corner. Then what is going to be a back straight. Then loads of second and third gear stuff again.
I love the way you're very kindly talking to me as if I would have the foggiest idea what this might be. And there can't be. Is there a circuit I'm not thinking of here? That
I don't think it's in Britain.
Ah, you think it's Assen?
Yeah.
Of course. That was the one I wasn't thinking of.
Yeah.
That was the one I wasn't thinking of. I was racking my brains, and of course it would be.
I mean, even if we hadn't had Thruxton, and even if we hadn't had the three that we've had, thereby taking them out of the sort of list of what it could be, definitely don't fit anything else, does it?
No.
And nearly a 2-minute lap.
Yes, that was the other thing that bamboozled me. It went on for a long time.
What surprised me there was that the revs were higher.
Yes.
I mean, the revs were really low.
Yes. Yeah.
You'd expect that even if the speed would be the speed, whatever it was, but I'd expect to have more revs.
Because that tight first section of Assen that always disappointed you because you weren't... You remember when we first went, it went much further out into the country.
Yeah, well, I've done 3 circuits around there.
Yeah, and you've done the really big one.
I've never raced at this one they're on now.
No.
But I've ridden it.
Yeah.
I raced at 2. I've actually ridden 3, but I've actually raced on 2. The first one, you went way past him where you did on the...
Yeah, we used to come in on it with the ditches around.
It's right down by the... You went right almost to the road junction off the motorway.
Yeah.
And then it followed an almost...
Yeah.
A bigger version of what it ended up, and now it's a really small... But they've kept the character of it pretty well for a... Did
those ditches frighten you back in the day? Because they were there. They were there beside the road we came in on.
Yeah. No, you didn't think about them, did you?
Not until you fell into them.
Yeah, if you went in them, yeah. Remember Steve Webb was going in one. Remember that? Big sidecar crash. No, never. Such a good circuit.
Yeah.
Such a good circuit. Still is now. I think everybody enjoys going there. And they enjoy having it.
And they're going back again.
Yeah, back there this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get a decent crowd. They get a
terrific crowd. A lot of Brits. In fact, my relative Ian Bernicle is booked himself in to go out there. Yeah, he's never been there before. He's looking forward to it.
Oh, it's really good. I saw him at Croft.
Oh, he said that was a great night. You and Simhall.
Yeah, good night.
It was a great night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the weird thing about that night? There's a guy sat next to me, right? We're up on some stools there. It's about 110 people, right? Listen to this. Larry Carter's over here, stood up with his mic. Me and Simo sat on, Simo's here, I'm here, and the crowd sort of spreads out there. And it's like a clubhouse.
Yes.
Setting. And the guy sat down there on a lower stool than me, so his head's sort of down there. And we're about halfway into this night and telling the old tales and flipping, people are laughing, and Simo is telling one of his tales, and everybody's chuckling away, and the dude next to me kind of half stood up and went, "Come here." And I went, "What?" He said, "I thought you should know, Ozzy Osbourne's just died." I didn't know whether he wanted me to announce it or what. I thought, well, that's going to spoil the mood. So I didn't say anything. And I'm really sad. I mean, who don't like Ozzy Osbourne? But I thought it was quite a weird bit of timing. He's clearly, some Iron Maiden flipping.
Black Sabbath fan, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Black Sabbath, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Just died.
I'd like to interrupt this hilarious tale to tell you.
Didn't mention Hulk Hogan, weirdly. Obviously not a fan.
Didn't mention who?
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, right, yes.
Brands Hatch, great meeting, really good, not unaffected by weather, but anyway, for the most part, it was dry. Supersport got a bit of a rough trot there just before both their races. It showered and then dried out, and tyre choice shenanigans and stuff. But first Superbike race, Brad Ray just sneaked away, put in a 10th of a second in here, 10th of a second there, got it up to about a second and a half. Scott Redding then got into second, and the sort of the combination of Redding getting quicker and seeing a little bit of a sniff of Ray just up the road, and Ray not realising he's seen his pit boards going, telling him he's further and further in front. Once Redding got in front, then it started to come down. It dropped about 7/10 to about a second. We all thought, yeah, Redding's going to get on his tail here, but Ray just had enough to start pulling a 10th in and 10th there, won by about a second and a half. Kyle Ride third, brilliant fourth place for Christian Idden, and his teammate Max Cook finished about 7th. He was right up in that. I think Bridewell's in there as well. It was a really good race, and one where you thought, do you know what, Redding might have something for Brad Ray. He just started to think that, even though he didn't like the circuit when he walked around it. And then the shorter race, a 12-lapper, a sprint race, whatever we call it, on Sunday morning, really close race. So Redding's got away with Brad Ray and not letting him go. And then you've got Kyle, for the most part, it was Kyle Ride behind him. And they're pushing him, and they are pushing him. The times are really good between Ray and Danny Kent and Scott Redding and Kyle Ride. They all fastest lap of the race. Fastest, you know, it was really, really good 24s, which are quick lap times. And then going into Westfield, kind of mid-race, Brad Ray went in, and he's pushing on because he's got company, and it was really close with Redding. So he'd know, I mean, that Ducati, you can flip and hear it when it's behind you. You don't have to be in front or at the side of you to hear it. So Brad knew he was there. Brad's gone in about 2 foot wide, maybe less, maybe 18 inches wide, and Westfield sort of drops away into Dingle Dell, so you've got a little bit of a lift anyway. You've got a little bit less weight in your tyres, plus he's a bit wide, plus that for he's carrying a little bit extra brake. The front end's tucked, and he's got it on his knee for a long, long time. We only saw it from the outside, so all you could see with this bike going sort of sideways and sideways. He's trying, and then eventually he's let go. And by then it scrubbed off quite a lot of speed, and he went over onto the gravel, didn't endo, he slid along on his backside. It was clearly all right. We could tell that straight away. Sometimes you can't tell, can you? That left Redding with Kyle Ride for company and a resurgent Danny Kent taking the. We're really pleased for Danny, pleased for Scott, not pleased for Brad. But he was pushed and he fell down. You know, and people do. If you ride motorbikes, you fall off occasionally. But that just put a different kind of complexion on the whole thing, really. You're starting to think, ooh, that's... And again, I don't want to... Brad's a lovely lad and he's had a great season, and this is obviously, you know, you don't make an habit of this, but you're just thinking, oh, this is good for the championship kind of thing, you know. And then race 3, it rained just before the Supersport race. They went out on a drying track, and the tyres... Well, it was actually a brilliant ride by Ben Curry, who went out on full intermediates, not wet. Most went wet front, intermediate rear, because clearly it was going to dry, but it was actually very wet when they started, but it didn't look like it was going to rain again. So it's one thing choosing the tyres that were going to be perfect for a fast lap and the end of the race, but you've got to actually... what that means, you've got completely inappropriate tyres for the first part of the race.
Yes.
Blowing wet. And that's... Not only have you got to choose the right tyres for the end of the race, you've got to be able to ride the wrong tyres at the beginning. You understand? You know what I'm saying?
This is, excuse me, but Australians in the wet?
Yeah.
What history have we got of Australians
Generally
in
pretty
the wet?
good. Generally pretty good.
And even though he was born in Germany, bless him, and went to Australia not speaking a word of English, he was definitely brought up as an Australian in the wet.
Well, he had a fantastic ride in Ben. Anyway, that race finish, he cleared off. I mean, he just made everybody look silly. And he made people look silly who had the same tyres as him.
Oh, right. Okay.
Just, you know, Superbikes went out straight after that. The Superbike lads were scuttling round trying to speak to all some of the super sport riders. What's it like? What's it like out the back? You know, is there damp patches? Is there dry line? Whatever. So everybody went out on slicks. It was the only choice for Superbikes. But that's not to say it didn't catch a couple of people out. At the front, it seemed pretty, they were using the curbs all right. You know, clearly it was fairly dry where they needed it to be dry. Towards the end, it caught Andy Owen, who just had the biggest eyesight you've ever seen. Coming out Sheen curb, he's gone up. He's drifted 6 inch wide. Hit a little sort of triangle piece of damp patch about year big. Boom, it's gone. And it's flicked him right down the middle of the track towards Stirling's. The bike's gone off sort of stage left.
And he's in mid-air.
Well, he's in mid-air, then he's on the ground, sliding sort of feet first and looking back up the track, unable to do anything about anybody who may have been on the trajectory to sort of hit him. But everybody missed him. And there was a little bit of luck involved, but actually they were really, the riders were really good. It's quite blind there. You're coming over sort of Sheen curve from behind trees and over a bit of a crest at speed. Third gear back to second gear for Stirling. So it's quick. And a couple of them, including Fraser Rogers, stuck their hand up straight away so that the riders behind could see something had gone on, even if they'd not seen, you know, even if they're unsighted by the rider in front. So I thought that was, you know, a good presence of mind for those riders. And at the front, it was a fairly straight fight, really, between Kyle Ryde, Brad Ray, Scott Redding, and Danny Kent. Danny Kent had a flipping cracking meeting. They've had a lot of problems with the bike, setup-wise. They've changed the electronics engineer. I think they've just got a bike they can start working with now, and Danny can start learning how to ride. And he had a brilliant ride to second in that one. Kyle Ryder, what a flipping ride he had. Just, Kyle...
Was that his first win of the year?
Yep, and really good to see. I mean, Kyle... We all like Kyle. He's just such a good bloke. But he won't thank me for saying this, but just sometimes he lacks...
What you're going to say it anyway.
He just lacks a little bit of confidence in his own abilities. We know how good he is. Yeah. And he does for the most part. Yeah. But he's really honest. And I just think sometimes he doubts his own abilities. Anyway, it was a brilliant win. Really, really good win. And a mega second place for Danny Kent. We're really, really pleased to see that. And Scott Redding in third and Brad Ray fourth. So it was a little bit of a different sort of finish, or puts a different complexion on the championship. And apparently, we knew that Kyle Ryde and Scott Redding had finished equal on points across the races, the 3 races, and that the top point scorer won this across the 3 races, won this champion of King of Brands.
Yes,
call it King of Brands.
Yes.
Some mega names on that. You'd like
Derek
some names on that. Yeah, and
the ultimate.
Yeah, and we thought, who's going to get that? Do they go back? Do they count back? Who got the highest result first? Because they both got a win. Or who got it last? Or who qualified pole for one of the races? Who got the fastest lap? And it turns out it went on fastest lap from the previous race, which was Scott Redding. So Scott won.
Fastest lap from the previous race?
Apparently. There must be some count-back system. Or might be fastest lap across the weekend, maybe. But anyway, it went back to a fastest lap that Scott Redding won.
That sounds like a Stuart Higgs idea.
I think the idea was in place. I don't think he made it up as he went along. So if it's in place before...
Yeah,
they all know, you know. So anyway, big trophy made up out of some old car.
Oh yes, I remember it.
Carburetors. It's like several carburetors. It's quite nice. Anyway, so he won that. Mentioned for Supersport 1 on the Saturday, Lee Johnston, whose motorhome still parked out there, even though he's bought another house with more parking. His motorhome still marooned out here. Who finished third. Absolutely great ride in sketchy conditions, but he chose the right tyres and he rode really well. And it wasn't a race for the nervous. And he's
He's not nervous.
No, not anymore. I think
Not
he has
usually.
been a little bit at the beginning of this season, coming back from injury and
Yes.
all the rest of it. I
Yeah.
think he's got his sort of mojo back a bit now. So that we're really pleased to see.
What Brands Hatch did present us with,
Yep.
were very unusually, was 3 different race winners, but 2 of them had never won at Brands Hatch before.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Reading hadn't, and neither had Brad Ray.
Brad Ray in the
And
Superbike
that's
class,
his
get this.
local track.
Yeah, it's not his local track. He's dominated championships before. In his winning year in 22, he did that. Never
In
even,
Supersport?
He hasn't. No, he's won. He's won races at Brands Hatch in the Supersport class.
Yes.
This is we're talking about Superbike.
Yeah.
He never even finished. He's at Brands Hatch full circuit. He's never even finished on the podium at Brands. Never
Okay.
mind a win.
Yes.
So amazing. That's that were good. Yeah, and 3 winners in the Superbike class, which is, well, it's really unusual this year because normally
yeah.
Brad's been winning most of them. So yeah, really pleased to see that.
With,
yeah.
with the sensible scoring system that Superbikes have, that means that Kyle actually dragged 12 points back on
Yeah.
Bradley in that one
Yeah, he did.
race, which is, I always think that points gap should represent good value for a winner. To actually win a race is worth a substantial amount, instead of that idea that keep the points gaps very close and it always
Yeah, I mean,
competitive.
there's a load of different ways of looking at it. I mean, a lot of people don't like the kind of, the manufactured way that it pushes everything into the last couple of 3 rounds of the championship. Others do like it. I think it served us pretty well. I think this championship, the way it is now, with only 2 points between first and second, second to third, etc., at the beginning of the season, kind of works all right. And then, as a rider, if you're winning, you want to reward him for that.
Yes, I
And
think
you
so. I think that should happen.
But then, if you're watching it, you don't want somebody clearing off by. I'd
Yeah,
like
but
to see.
by the same token, if someone has a bit of a problem and they're coming back, then they need to be able to claw back those points.
Yeah,
it
agreed.
works both ways.
Yeah,
It works
yeah.
both ways.
But yeah, with the same token, it works both ways. It actually, there's different ways of looking at it as well. So I've heard both opinions.
Yeah.
So, but I think for the most part, it's worked pretty well this year, because Brad Ray would have been 80 points in front of us.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
That's very true. Amongst the accidents at Brands Hatch, things didn't go well for a couple of people. Tommy Bridewell had a big one, didn't he, in the sprint race?
Yeah, big one at Clearways, and knocked about. I don't think he's broken anything major, but he was declared unfit for the the second race on the Sunday.
So the same place as Luke Mossey did himself.
Yeah, big crash for Luke. Big.
God,
You don't have a small crash at
you don't.
at Clearways.
You don't.
And Luke Mossey went off in free practice, and he got up and he hobbled off, clearly knocked about everywhere, like been inside a flipping tumble dryer kind of thing. But it turns out went to, I think, Sid Cup anyway, went to one of the local hospitals, got scans and x-rays. Turns out he's broke his left hip. Now, I didn't see him afterwards. He didn't come back to the circuit, but it's unclear. Sometimes people say broken hip when it's your femur, and some when it's further up, either the top of your femur or where the sort of ball and socket is, or even if you've cracked a little bit of the pelvis. But anyway, he's out for a bit. In good spirits, though. I sent him a text and on the Friday night and said, "You all right?" He said, "Yep, all good. Can't wait to get back. Don't crash that often. It's part of the job, blah, blah, blah." So in really good spirits.
Same track on which he won his double in British Superbikes.
And he was going, and he would have been quit this weekend.
Yeah.
We thought the bad news there was going to be the fact that even though David Allingham and Tom Ward have been going really well in that class, there's only Mossey really had the beating, and that's only occasionally of Ilya Michalczyk.
Yes.
So
yeah,
we thought, he's going to clear it off now. Again, Michalczyk's come and learnt the circuit.
Yeah.
Again, not the easy circuit to learn.
Yeah.
And got his head down, and he's quick. But
Allinson
David
did
Allingham,
it.
The D-bomb.
Sorry,
not won a
Allingham.
race.
I beg your pardon,
Not
David.
won a race. Northern Irish lads not won a race for 7 years since he was on a Yamaha in Super Sport.
7 years? Really?
7
Is
years.
it that long now?
Yep, and it was a good win. It was a fair win. He had to ride out to do it, and he beat the man who's been dominating the championship. So, you know, even the fact that Mossa was out, you couldn't really take a lot away from David. And that was really much. This is a big, shovel-handed, flipping, hard-working, strong Northern Irish lad, and he's yelping. And it's they could hardly say when we're interviewing him, he's flipping crying. And then fair play to the lad. He had a really good meeting. Good effort from him.
Loves his motocross, so I'm glad to hear that he
does. He does. And he's gone through quite a lot, not in terms of injuries, but setting his own team up, moving away from his original sponsor, putting a lot of the effort in himself, like driving his own truck and doing his own, you know. He puts a ton of effort in.
Yes.
So it's really good to see that. Yeah, good.
You had the pleasure of the company of Glenn Irwin,
Yep.
as he wasn't racing, obviously, and he was very impressive,
good.
wasn't he, as a pundit? I would expect him to be.
Yeah.
He's a garrulous young man.
Yep. Knows how to talk. Really impressed with his insight. But you could expect that from a current rider.
Yeah.
But also very level-headed and unbiased, I thought.
Yes.
Which
yes.
sometimes you get a little bit of bias brought in by a rider who's still in the game.
Yes.
So really impressed with that. Dead impressed with the fact that he's got two big titanium rods through his sacrum, which is this. It's like the bit that connects you to the two sides of your pelvis together. I broke mine.
How was yours sorted out then? Not like that?
Oh man. Well, yeah, I've got two screws, one from each side of the sacrum, and then Bad broke both sides of the pelvis as well that needed that external fix. So it's not. I had a kind of more breaks than. But I was out for half a season, wasn't I?
Yes.
And it looks like he's going to be back for Thruxton. So
Thruxton?
Yeah, looks like it. He says so. And he's walking about mint, no crutches.
Blooming heck.
Yeah.
What, you mean, so, what on earth does it feel like having, you know, having pieces of metal stuck in your bone? Doesn't that involve a fair bit of discomfort?
I don't know, it's still in there and I'm all right now. I don't know.
Yeah, you hobble around at speed.
And he seems all right. The question will be, is Scott going to still be with the team after Glenn's back? That was the big question, because clearly Glenn's going to be back before anybody thought. And therefore, if Scott is going to carry on riding with the PBM team...
Surely they'll run two bikes.
Yeah, but where are you going to get another bike?
Where are you going to get it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't Ducati supply it for them?
No, you can't just go to them and say, in 2 weeks, can I have a brand new motorbike?
Okay.
I don't think so. That's the one you can't. If you run Hondas or Yamahas, you can buy one from a shop, and then, well, not from a shop now, because the Yamaha certainly is not for, you know, they don't sell it for road use. But you can go and buy an R1 or a Fireblade, and then you can...
Can you not just go and buy a Ducati?
No.
Okay.
No, they come as a race bike, so they've got to build that. They don't have them on the shelf. They don't say, oh, yeah, we've got 4 left. And whether you could get one from another team, maybe in World Superbike and then convert it, because there's quite a big difference in the electronics.
Yeah,
so it's complete wiring loom. And so, and even if you could get one, I don't know what you're talking, 150, 200 grand. So it's going to be a lot more budget. But there was talk of that, and I'd like to see that.
I think everybody would like to see that, wouldn't they? If Scott's so keen on coming back.
I mean, whether you... the next round is going to be probably the worst round for Ducati. Nobody quite knows why, but they've struggled there the last couple of years. But anyway, with a bit of luck, we're going to get Scott and Glenn back. And at the minute, they're all saying, oh, Glenn said, I can't wait to work with Scott. And Scott saying, oh, he's going to be a great teammate. But sometimes it don't work like that when they become teammates, does it? First thing you got to do is beat your teammate, right? So,
okay.
But Brands was a...
Did you used to prefer having a strong teammate with you?
No, I probably preferred being a lone wolf, really.
You used to have a fairly hapless American on the Suzuki team, didn't you?
Yeah, for 1 year. What a nice lad.
But not a very good motorcycle
No, he
racer.
couldn't ride his bike very well, which was kind of
Was that a drawback to
his
you?
downfall, really. But he being a professional motorcycle racer. Yeah. Nice bloke, though, and the best-looking man in the world.
So
Officially.
you must have envied him on several levels then, except for his aptitude as a motorbike racer. Wouldn't it have been better to have someone who gave a bit more feedback, or were you quite happy with what you could do yourself?
I think I was always quite happy with myself. I normally ran quite a different setup to a lot of riders. I was teammates with Neil McKenzie in '96 with the boost bikes, and our bikes were completely different setups. He could run different tyres to me. I couldn't run some of the tyres he used, vice versa. Same setup. His were a lot firmer than mine generally. He wouldn't have liked my bike, a bit softer, a bit squashy, but that's how I liked it.
And what was the difference in bike setup between yourself and the unfortunate Mike Hale? Or did that not matter really?
It didn't really matter, and I can't really remember. I just remember that it wasn't that. I mean, I never had I was going all right. I was, I wasn't setting the world alight, but I was definitely beating him every weekend. So that's your sort of main thing. But I always got on with him. I mean, it's not that hard to get on with somebody when you only see him once every other weekend, is it? I always got on really quite well with teammates. People like Paolo Cazzoli, got on really well with him. Had some really good teammates over the years. But Mike was a really good bloke. Got into selling insurance and did really, really quite well at that.
That probably sums up his capability as a motorcycle racer rather effectively, a good insurance salesman.
He couldn't understand why we're on a flight somewhere and he's ranting on, going testing, he's ranting on about the Super Bowl competition. And he couldn't understand why I hadn't watched it. And he says, I can't believe it. We have parties and everybody watches it. There's 40 million people watch it. I said, yeah, all in America.
Yes.
Nobody gives a about that. So anyway, he found it difficult to believe that everything
didn't
outside of America didn't count
that.
somehow.
Yeah.
But a good bloke. Yeah, good bloke.
The good news for you, James, at this point in proceedings is the track trivia. We've got the upcoming BSB round at Thruxton, so we have a few questions to ask of you.
Jack Track Trivia, powered by Net Performance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Jack Burnicle.
I've done all right at these.
You've done better than I expected.
Yeah, all right.
I'm adopting reading glasses here so I can pick up the appropriate sheets of card. Oh, and I've also got an extra special one as well at the end.
What, one of your questions?
Yeah, but it's the next one I found that involved a bit of extra research, mate.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, is that what you're saying? Jack Track Trivia, Episode 4, Thruxton.
Yes.
That's what it says here.
Yes.
Question 1, what is the full length of the Thruxton circuit?
Oh, God. It's quite a long one. I'm going to go 2.46.
Whoa, very near. 2.356. I'll give you that one. You were close.
All right.
You were close. Question 2. Which rider holds the record for the most BSB wins at Thruxton and how many in total?
Somebody dominated. Was it Josh Brooks dominated?
Very good. Yeah, Brooksy.
And it's a lot, isn't it? He'd pull a couple of wins off there, even in years when he wasn't dominating, which some years he did. 11.
9.
Oh.
Not bad. Not bad. Oh, strangely enough, Josh Brooks holds the question 3. Josh Brooks holds the official BSB lap record at Thruxton at 1 minute 14.655, set during race 1 in 2019. But what rider has set the fastest ever lap around Thruxton in BSB competition?
So this is a qualifying.
And what was the time?
This will be a qualifying lap.
Yes.
On probably the X tyre.
Wow, it's a long time ago as well.
Right, if it's a long time ago, then it'll be, and he's probably still chirping on about it. It'll be Shane Byrne, and it'll be 1:13.28.
It was 1 minute 13.84.
By?
Shaky Byrne.
Yeah, of course it was.
Set in
17.
16.
16.
Very good. 2016 Q2.
Yeah. That said, I mean, hats off to Shaky. He still holds some outright lap records,
Yes.
right? And that's, I remove my flat cap to the man. But they did have probably a little bit more grip in some of the softer sort of tyres.
Yes.
Hey, listen, I take nothing away from my colleague. Just shut up.
Question 4. This one interests me because I hadn't realised this, to be absolutely frank. Since 2021 and the introduction of 3 BSB races per round,
Yep.
which isn't very long ago, is it? Which rider is the only man to have won a triple at Thruxton?
O'Halloran.
Yes. 2021 and 2023.
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. I only remember him getting hurt at Thruxton, not winning that many races at Thruxton.
Yeah, he got clobbered there a couple of times.
Yeah.
Actually, even before he started getting clobbered by people at Thruxton, he actually had really big crashes on his own.
Yes.
Remember he crashed that Honda?
Yes.
He crashed Honda Stocker. Remember
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Huge eyesight. But he turned up, he came instructing at one of the, we've not seen him for a bit.
Oh, really?
He came instructing for me at Mallory Park track day.
Oh, good.
Novice and beginners. Just good to see him, and good to see him away from this. Weirdly, Jason O'Halloran was such a serious little fish at BSB meetings, but what a breath of fresh air and a real live wire, and funny, great instructor, good to see him, really good.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. Question 5. Due to planning restrictions, the Thruxton circuit can only run a limited number of days for motorsport a year.
Yeah.
How many would that be?
Not that many. They've also got an issue in the fact that it's still an active flying club, so they're not allowed to have track days and have the airfield open. And the airfield actually it's quite a well-funded and well.
You use it yourself regularly.
Yeah, they've got a nice cafe and all that. So that's another issue for the circuit, because bikes would probably make more noise than the aeroplanes. But 22.
12.
Is that all it is?
Yes, it's only 12.
I knew we want a lot. 12 days.
Of
Because
Christmas.
3 of them's BSB.
Yeah.
3 you've got a touring car.
3 the touring car. So that's half your allocation taken up. Question 6, which I must admit I'm not very keen on this one, because cars are always fearfully quick compared to motorbikes. The unofficial outright track record was set by Damon Hill in a Williams FW15C Formula 1 car during a demonstration run in 1993. What time was set to the nearest second?
58 seconds.
Very good. Good guess. Good guess. 57.6. That's a point. That's.
I knew it was less than a minute. I did know it was less than a minute, because somebody said that. I remember going there and doing whatever. I don't know what we did, but a reasonable time.
Yes.
On bikes at that point, and somebody said, "Oh, it's rubbish." Damon Hill went round at less than a minute. But the thing is, cars are always quicker. Not every car, but single seat, big power cars, F1 cars.
Yeah.
Are always going to be a lot quicker.
Because of the sheer amount of rubber they've got.
Yeah, especially when it's a circuit that's all corners.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's going to make a massive difference.
Yes.
All I would say is Damon Hill couldn't do anywhere near what the BSB boys doing
Could do on a motorbike.
It was quite
far
good.
off.
It was quite good, by the way.
Far off. Question 7. The Thruxton Hospitality Centre was opened in June 2018 by one of our greatest fans, James, the late, great Murray Walker OBE. And who else? Who else accompanied him on that occasion?
Car or bike?
Car.
Sterling Moss.
Nigel Mansell, Mansell.
I like Mansell. I like Mansell.
What did I say to offend you?
You were just going to slag him off.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, normally people do.
What made you think I was going to slag him off?
I don't know.
I never said. Listen, I say words out of place often enough without you adding petrol to the fire like that.
I met him a couple. He was living in Isle of Man for a long time.
Yeah.
And he was I really liked what he did in a.
I protest my innocence. I never made any mention of slagging him off.
I thought he was just about to go in at him then, not having it.
Right. Question 8. So, question 8. This is a real James Whittam question. Question 8.
Okay.
Because it's certainly nothing that I know myself. The site was originally constructed in 1942 as RAF Thruxton, hence those beautiful buildings that we love, and was home to the RAF and USAAF during World War II. On the night of the 27th, 28th of February 1942, paratroopers flew out of Thruxton to participate in what covert intelligence operation?
Don't know. I know that they flew gliders for D-Day, but that'd be 44. I know they flew fighters out of there. The Thunderbolts went out of there because I've seen pictures of that and read a bit about that. So if they're flying paratroopers out of there, they'd be dropping them into somewhere and doing something.
So that would...
Don't know, they would be... I reckon they would be...
It's something I've never heard of, I must confess.
Right, so I'm going to make this up. They were dropping paratroopers in to see into Normandy to see what the sand was like. There you go. See what the beaches were like before D-Day.
I can't believe that you've just said that, because my late great Uncle Ron Bevan, married to my mum, married to my dad's big sister, Auntie Dorothy. He was one of the scientists.
He went to Normandy on his own.
He was one of the scientists who had to test the strength of the sand on the Normie beaches under the nose of the Germans, under cover of darkness.
Yeah, no, that's what.
And Uncle Ron said he only ever went back to Normandy once after that, and he threw up. He never went back again.
So I'm right then?
No, you're not. Oh. But it's strange that you should have mentioned that.
I know they did that to a lot of beaches to try and find. No point planning all this big beach landing if you get there and you're flipping stuff sinks in the sand, right?
And Uncle Ron had to do it. He said it was a terrifying experience. It was something called Operation Biting, also known as the Bruneval Raid.
Oh yeah, that's when they went to nick radar. They went to steal some equipment out of a radar station because they knew that the Germans had radar to see where our bombers were going, and they were running amok with the bomber streams, and so they went to pinch one to see how it worked.
In complete contrast, question 9 is, what is the name of the fastest corner at Thruxton?
It's got to be Church.
Very good. Very good. Well done.
Yeah.
Before I go on to question 10, our final question.
I'm going to say, where's the one you've made?
Is when I was 15 years old, we're going back a bit now, when I was 15 years old and mad about motorsport, four-wheel motorsport, and I got all these motorsport magazines in a big box from a friend of my dad's at ICI. Yeah. Never met the man. And he happened to throw in 4 small A5 hardback books about the history of motorcycle sport. The story of the Manx, the story of the TT, short circuits and Champions Year, which was something to do with the first couple of years of World Championship Grand Prix. 49, 50 kind of time. And this was one of them. I keep it in this silly box because it's in the cover's in such a poor condition. I don't want it to all fall apart. But this was one of the books, and it's the story of 1950 British season. You know, on places the new aerodromes that are just coming to use then, like
loads of them. Pembrey, Thruxton, Castlecombe,
Blandford Forum,
Snetterton, Croft.
Yeah,
loads of them.
And it's always been a great delight to have it with me. But this is how I got interested in motorbikes. Went down to the local newsagent with my mum. Oh, there was a copy of Motorcycling, the Greenan, a newspaper with a big photograph of Jeff Duke riding Bob Maxillaire on the cover, and that was what got me into I could have a motorbike. 6 months later, turned 16, could have a motorbike, persuaded my dad to let me have a motorbike, went to a local scramble, and just absolutely fell in love with motorcycle sport as opposed to four-wheeled motor cars. And that completely changed my life. This book completely changed my life. And I've extrapolated a question out of the report of the first ever Thruxton meeting, which was 1950, Easter Monday, filthy wet day, when they used the main runways. Remember, they ran the runways towards each other, as well as part of the perimeter. The perimeter was 50 feet wide, and the runways were 156 feet wide, which must have felt like a motorway, mustn't it, to ride along?
We used to ride at a place called Carnaby, which had a 350-foot wide main runway, which was the back straight, but the rest of it, you've been like a narrow taxi. It's weird. But the thing is, that era is what made motorsport in the UK, because we ended up inheriting a lot of disused airfields. Yeah. And no club went in and thought, right, we're going to put a chicane here, a chicane there. They used what they got because they couldn't afford to put any more tarmac down. So. And
there's also mention on the inside of the cover about
the
fact that...
Winter evenings fly by at the Bernicle House, I'm sure.
About the fact that, despite the fact that the British motorcycle is supreme the world over, and much of its popularity may be attributed to its racing successes, yet Great Britain is perhaps the one and only civilised country where motorcycle road racing is forbidden. In Ireland, Isle of Man, France, Belgium, Holland, Switzerland, etc., Australia, New Zealand, stretches of the public roads are closed from time to time for the purpose of motorcycle and car racing. But in Great Britain, world leader of the motorcycle industry, no.
Yes. Scarborough.
Except for Scarborough. Anyway, it goes on to say that, you know, these airfields have allowed short circuit racing.
Yeah, it made motorsport in this country, yeah.
Yes.
No other country had as many.
Absolutely.
I think we had, there's into the hundreds.
Yes.
Especially in places like East Anglia, East Yorkshire, Suffolk, South West. Hundreds of them.
My question is, there were 2 future world champions who won on that stormy wet day at Thruxton on Easter Monday 1950. Who were they?
1950, that would be too early for Halewood. I'm going to go Jeff Duke and John Surtees.
That's a good attempt. Jeff Duke was one of them. John Surtees' dad, Jack Surtees, was one of the winners of a sidecar race that day, although John was no longer riding in the chair. The other one was MV Augusta's first ever world champion, Cecil Sandford.
Oh, Cecil Sandford.
Won the 250 race.
I wouldn't have got that.
Do you happen to know what make of machines they rode?
Who?
Duke and Sandford.
Complete guess. One's on a Manx Norton and one is on a G50 matchless.
Near. Duke was on 350 and 500 Nortons, and Sandford was on a Velocet. 250 Velocet.
Okay.
Oh dear me, I've forgotten to tot up your results as I went through. Sorry about that.
I
think you did rather well. Can I give you a round of applause?
Thank you. After that.
Right, James. Now that was my little set of questions, but also our kind listeners have shot us a few. So time for a bit of a Prezza Q&A.
Easier.
See if we can manage that.
Prezza Q&A, powered by Nets Performance.
Mark Betts, we've got a question from
Hello,
Mark
Mark.
Betts. The first thing Mark says very kindly is, chuffing love the podcast. Thank you very much
thank you.
indeed, Mark. That's much appreciated. The question for James. Jack, can you ask James to explain the incident he had with his team boss, Rob Mack, at Mallory Park at the end of his dominant 1993 season?
Yeah, I can. So a long time ago, 1993, me and Rob Mack, he was player manager, team manager and still riding. We're on the bikes were fast orange Yamahas, if you remember them, only ran for 1 year. Great colour scheme, I thought. The hand cleaner stuff, really good. Come on then, fat boy. Come on in. There you go. Didn't fancy that.
You know who loves you.
Didn't fancy that, Sprout.
You know who loves you, don't you, Sprout?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're feeding him now. And what happened was, it was the last round of the championship, or might have been next round. Anyway, I'd won the championship in race 1. Second place in the championship I think we went to Brands for the last round, but I think I'd won it in race 1 at Mallory with 1 round to go. And so the last race of the day, Rob Mack came to me and said, look, Yamaha, it's important for them to get first and second in the championship. And by then, on the Duckham's Norton, Jim Mood had gone really quite well. And he probably had the beating of Rob in the second race. He'd been going really quite well that weekend. And he said, look, try and help me. Try and hold him up, or let me go and get to him first, and if you can hold him up and I can get in front, blah, 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 whatever. And it was a complicated and flipping... He was bound to go wrong, in my opinion. I said, yeah, whatever, I'll do what I can. Race started. Well, Rob's in front, but he can't hold Jim back. I couldn't really help Rob by getting him, and it was just turning into a load of rats, really. Jim finally gets past Rob and starts to pull away. So in my head, I thought, well, rather than sit behind Rob and finish third, I'd be better taking 3 points, because then it was 15, 12, 10.
Yeah.
I thought I could give Rob a point back by having him, Anyway, whether it would have worked, I just thought, what I'll do is I'll go and nick the win off Jim.
Yes.
And thereby Rob's 2 points needed to him, then 3 points if I let him finish second. So I went under Rob, intending to go then chase down Jim, and
it all went wrong.
Lost the front going into the S's, and that was the old S's with not a lot of runoff at that point. Me and Rob's bike got jammed together. We're in there somewhere, tippling to the tyre wall with... just in a big mess, really. And I was thrown clear at the last minute, luckily, and got with not a mark on me. And Rob's under this pile of motorbike bits with a broken femur. So it was pretty sad in the fact it was his last ever race. That's what finished his career.
Yes.
And I can't help having to take some responsibility. But it wasn't my idea. In my head, I'd have been up the road already, so, I don't know. Anyway, we're all right now.
You patched it up.
Yeah, the worst thing was, as I ran over to try and pull parts of the bike off, it became apparent Rob had I think you'd call it an involuntary bowel movement. It was a right old mess. The whole lot stunk, honestly. At first I thought we'd sort of ploughed up some kind of drainage system. But anyway, it turns out that's what it was, yeah.
That was part of the story you'd never told me before. Next question, Ash Chivers. Thank you, Ash. When Josh Brooks took Michael Rutter off at Cadwell Park into Hall Bends, something that we remember very, very well. I'm sure Josh was Relentless Suzuki and Rutter was NW200 Ducati.
Yes.
I remember James talking to Josh on the grid before
after
the next race, and Josh gave James some grief about what he said on air about the incident.
Yeah.
Were there any issues after this?
No, there wasn't any issues after that. I actually went and talked to him about it afterwards. Yeah. Number one, I really like Josh.
Yeah.
He speaks his mind. I kind of like that about him. And so what got me was, so it's into All Bends. Cadwell's quite a dangerous place anyway.
Yes.
It was a harsh move. But that isn't what upset me. What upset me is you've knocked a man. There's been an incident and one has gone down, right? Let's put it that way. There's not a lot of runoff there. You could, whoever it is went down could have easily been it. It wasn't. Michael was all right. But on the wind down lap after the finish, he didn't even look at him. And I would have stopped and I would have made sure he was all right and offered him a lift back, etc.
Yes.
And that's what got me more than the actual incident, to be honest.
Yeah.
So on the grid, and I must have commented on that in the comms booth with you.
Yes.
And on the grid the day after doing my grid walk, I went and sort of talked to him about it. I said, look, I'm not here to judge, but people thought it was an harsh move. He goes, you judged me on the TV yesterday, didn't you? Right, which, number one, impressed me because he watched it that night. So he must have watched it in his motorhome. And I thought, well, this is going to descend into a bit of an argument here. So all I did was turned away, looked at the camera and says, Josh Brooks. And then just walked away. Because I thought, it's not going to go anywhere, this. And but I spoke to him about it afterwards. He's all right. He just speaks his mind. And then he's got a point in his own head. But I think I had a point as well. So
Yeah, fair enough. Question 2, also from Ash. Strange enough, a bit slightly what we've talked about a bit before, or touched on. Do you think Higgs needs to adjust BSB rules to give British riders more of a chance in year 1 when transitioning to World Superbike? For example, electronics.
No, for a lot of reasons. I think the first reason is BSB wouldn't be what it is if they'd continue to run exactly the same regulations as World Superbike, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah.
So that's enough for me for it not to be. And the fact is, even if we did run the same electronics package and rules, regs in BSB, we can't afford to do it.
No.
There's people in World Superbike can't afford to be there and get the best out of their electronics. This isn't the electronics package, which includes traction control, corner by corner, GPS, all the rest of it. Yeah, it's a brilliant system that, if it's working properly, will make a second a lap.
Yes.
But actually, if you haven't got the staff to make it work, the testing and the money to spend, you ain't ever going to make it work. You'd probably be worse off. So, no, I think that isn't what would make the difference.
I've never really seen BSB as simply being a stepping stone to WSB. I've always thought it was a great championship in itself, really. So
No, I think if you're a rider in BSB, it breaks me out a little bit, but there isn't then a kick on into world level racing like there always was for Foggy, for me in my little bit of a way, for Cal Crutchlow, for you name it, Chas Davis, Jonathan Ray, many, many more, the Lowe's boys. But that isn't the fault of BSB. BSB is in such good condition in terms of people going to watch exciting racing, teams, accessibility for teams at a reasonable, even though it's getting to the point even now with BSB electronics that are a lot cheaper and easier to run. Even now it's getting to the point where it's still really expensive for most teams to get involved in. And I think that'll have to be addressed in the next few years. Yeah. But actually, I think having different rules has been a masterstroke of BSB.
Yes.
And I don't think you would have ever got there's no easy way of a step up into World Superbike, even if you had the same rules, because you won't be running them rules as effectively.
But surely that step into the electronics world of World Superbikes adds almost an element of safety to what they're stepping into. You know, the electronics, if they are working properly, are a boon to the rider.
Well, yeah, when it's working properly, it'll make a difference. It'll be as safe and make a difference to lap times. Yeah. But to do that, you need the wherewithal to run it. Yeah. And
so I would have thought the other way, they step the other way around, like Scott Redding coming back in and having Brad Ray and dealing with them without the electronics again. And
yeah, but the example
proper throttle control.
The example there is Scott Redding's come back and immediately it's going all right about with less aid. You would think it wouldn't work for him coming back that way.
And Brad Ray too.
To me, problem is people think that these rider aids are just a fit and forget thing. You bolt them on. Oh, I've got traction control.
Yes.
and there is systems where you can do that. Yeah. But you won't go any quicker. You'll go really slow doing that. Yeah. If you set a bike up that's impossible to crash by whacking the throttle open, Yeah, you can do that, but it'd be 10 seconds lap slower or whatever, 5 seconds lap slower.
Yeah.
To get it to work is such a fine line to get that working for you and safe and usable and to increase your lap time.
Right.
Or to decrease your lap time. So, no, I don't think it would help, not in this instance.
Do you think it would be advisable then if you say everything you say about BSB makes a lot of sense, yeah? So do you think it would be sensible for World Superbikes to go back to the BSB rigs?
Yeah.
That would make a lot more sense.
I think it'd make a lot more sense.
They talked about.
Yeah, they did talk about it, and the reason they didn't go for that is because the manufacturers wanted it to be a development platform for their road systems. They didn't want World Superbike to be a dumbed down version of what the road bike they were already producing.
Next question is from Mike Cutler. Thanks, Mike. James, you were my hero growing up. Meeting you as a young lad at the 1996 NEC Bike Show is still a cherished memory.
Oh dear.
What
did I do?
I'm still, I like this bit, I'm still irked by Sean Emmett nabbing that second place in race 1 in the final round in 1996.
Yep,
that
not
would
his
be
fault.
BSB.
Yep.
But my happiest memory of you racing was the Brands Hatch podium in 1998 behind Foggy.
Yeah, right.
When you set the fastest lap.
Lap record.
Lap record, yeah. When I was commentating, that's right, with the Parishioner. Despite not winning the championship, do you think 1996 was the best year you ever rode in your career? And if not, which year was better?
Don't know. It's hard to. You look back at a career and think when were you at your best? And I don't know. I actually don't know. I had dominant years in like '93, but I think it wasn't as competitive. And I think I probably had the best biking championship that year. '96 had a really good year. I won 10 races. Of the 20, I won 10. Neil won 5.
Really?
So I thought,
That big a
I had
difference?
2 DNFs, 1 breakdown, 1 crash. He didn't have any DNFs.
Yeah.
But you can't take any away. Neil won a championship, and I wouldn't argue with that. It was a really good year in terms of I was coming back from having chemotherapy, and I didn't think I was ever going to ride that well again. And that was a year when I realised I probably had got, a few years left in me. But it probably isn't the year I thought I was riding at my best. I thought and this is A, because I suited the bike, and B, because I thought it was a brilliant championship at the time. And I didn't dominate a championship, I didn't win a championship, but probably my first year in World Supersport. So 2000. I just thought, I started with a win in Phillip Island in the wet. I was running second when the bike broke down at Sugo in Japan. And we finished second at Kyalami, and I just felt mega competitive. I mean, what actually happened is we had a series of crashes. I mean, I'm no stranger to a crash, so I can't really blame it on anything else other than the fact we had Michelin tyres, and I didn't like the front. And other people like Ruben's house on the Ducati were having the same issues. It was really lacking a feel with that front Michelin. It gripped, but you couldn't tell when it was going to stop gripping. So I thought some of the riders that year were probably the ones I look back on. Finished second at Monza to Cazzoli.
Despite your misgivings about the feel of the front tyre, you still reckon it was the best?
I just felt I was probably not the most aggressive. That was probably 10 years previously. But I'd found what my strengths were and worked them a little bit better. I actually enjoyed my racing. I realised I was kind of all right at it, and I didn't have to panic if I didn't make a brilliant start. I knew I could sort of mix it a little bit. I'm probably happier in my life, had an house by then and a nice motorhome. And I don't mean this into trappings thing, but I just felt pretty settled, and I quite enjoyed going racing at that point, So probably Belgarda years on the Supersport bike.
You should have been world champion in 2000, but we'll leave
Not really, should I? I had the best bike on the grid, right? I had every chance, didn't I?
Yeah, but the possibility, the probability seemed there to us in the compass box anyway.
Did for me, just for a fleeting couple of meetings. I thought, well, that's it then.
Did it? Was that,
of the flash
I can't
stuff.
remember, forgive me for not being able to remember accurately, but was that the year you binned it at Misano when you were leading?
Yeah.
Down that beautiful, running anti-clockwise down the back straight and then into the.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name of the 180-degree left-hander.
Tremonto, was it?
Tremonto, yes. Tremonto, yeah.
Yeah, crashed there.
Yes, that was...
Crashed at Oschersleben.
No, that was... Oh, was that when you took out Perariba?
Correct.
Yeah, those two were costly.
They were
both front-enders.
They were all the same crash.
Yeah.
All exactly the same crash. But
yeah. C'est la vie.
yeah.
Signor Conzoni should have just got you on Dunlop or something.
Well, we had Dunlop's year after, didn't we?
Yes.
And so I can't really blame. I can't.
I
didn't win the championship then either. So.
Next, Kevin Freeman. Kevin, you've said, I have a question. With Suzuka 8 hours soon, which is coming up, and I see it more and more in Japan, but also at the Isle of Man TT, why is there sometimes a letter T to the right of some race numbers?
On the bike?
Yeah.
I'm going to show my ignorance here.
I don't know.
Actually, I don't. I'm thinking it's second bike, maybe, to distinguish between bikes in a awning or garage, no?
We'll have to find out about that.
We will. And if I've said something stupid there,
Kevin, I'm sorry. We'll have to hold fire on that one, and we'll find out, mate.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thank you very much for your questions. That's been great. Keep sending them in. You can get in touch with us, with me and young Sprout here, at the Outside Line Podcast at gmail.com. So keep them coming. It's great, and we'll find out about that last one.
We'll endeavour to be a bit cleverer the next time.
Yeah, we'll attempt to answer the next one. Next up, we have the Paddock PA.
Paddock PA, powered by Net Performance.
Paddock PA. Have you? Is this?
Yeah, you're first. You're blue.
Oh, am I blue?
You're blue.
Oh, that's right. Okay, folks. Upcoming club meets and ride-outs. True North Bikers present RSA 25, Sunday the 10th of August, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. A family-orientated day with plenty of activities with the aim to promote road safety awareness. At The Mill, Heath Hill, Telford, TF4 2JX.
Right, next up, Throttle Therapy Charity Ride Out, raising money for Doorways Derby Charity. That's on Sunday the 10th of August, meeting at the Square and Compass pub at 10 a.m. for a scenic ride around the Peak District, returning approximately 2 p.m, £5 per bike and pillion. All I'd say is, if you've never ridden around the Derbyshire Peaks, it's a good do.
But the next one is probably more you than me, James. The Lancaster Bomber and Bike Night at East Kirby Aviation Centre, Lincolnshire, on the 13th of August. £5 per bike. Engines start up at 8 p.m.
Yeah, and I kind of interject here because I know a little bit about this. I've been myself. I'm into motorbikes first and foremost, but I actually like my aeroplanes and my aviation history and wartime bomber command, all that kind of stuff, right? Because I'm a geek.
I like the fact that Huddersfield International Airport has light aviation magazines in the waiting room there.
Correct.
Very appropriate.
Yes. This is at East Kirby. It's an old wartime base that still belonged to the same family that had it requisitioned off them when it was built in 1941, right? The Panton family. And they've got this museum, lots of things from World War II. They've got a genuine reconstructed control tower, just that as it would be in 1943, 44. But they've got a Lancaster bomber.
Yeah.
They've got other aeroplanes there. Lancaster doesn't fly these days. It's trying to get it back in the air, which is going to be a massive financial and technical effort over the next 10 years. However, it does run. All 4 engines run, and it taxis, and they fire it up as the sun. They time it so it's just sunset. And if you get a good day, you've had a ride out on your motorbike through some lovely roads of Lincolnshire. It's cost a £5. It's for no. They've got a lovely little cafe, get a brew and a sandwich, and just wait till the sun dips behind the horizon. It's all nicely lit, and they fire this Lancaster up. And the flipping flames are coming out the exhaust stacks. It's just magic. If you're not, honestly, that I'd do that again. It's brilliant.
Yeah, good.
Ride to the Tide. The Ben Garland Memorial Run. This is on Saturday the 16th of August. Meeting at Trowbridge Rugby Club. £10 a bike. Funds raised for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, the RNLI, sorry.
Next up, the Sunday Run Milton Keynes Premier Motorcycle Meet. Sunday the 17th of August. 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock at the Gifford Park. That's Giffard, the Gifford Park, Broadway Avenue, Milton Keynes, MK14 5QN. Award for Best in Show, free entry.
Next up, Wiltshire Motorcycle Rally, 15th at 17th of August. Salisbury Rugby Club, that's where it's at. Live music and camping available. Weekend camping tickets £35, day tickets £20. Family friendly event, and under 16s free as long as it's accompanied by an appropriate adult or a responsible adult.
Or just an adult. Hopefully most adults
This
will
is
be
true,
responsible.
actually. Yeah. You don't have to be responsible for that one.
Whether you regard yourself as responsible or not. And the next one, moving a little more in my direction really, the Parkgate Inn motorbike ride and tractor run. Oh, now James, this would suit you. A tractor run, Sunday the 17th of August, Stocks Lane, Knutsford, Cheshire. In aid of Breast Cancer Now, the research and support charity. Motorbike ride out is at 10 a.m.
There's one of them in Ruddersfield. The problem is, I reckon they've done that right because it says they're setting motorbikes off at a different time. If you follow the tractors, they're just a bit steady, even if you're on a rig. So I've been out on some of my old stuff, and it's brilliant. And there's old boys with flipping all sorts of old tractors, and they've got trailers on the back with bales away with people saying it's brilliant, but they're doing like 15 mile an hour.
Yes.
So the bikes normally go on a bit of a longer route and then meet them at wherever they end up at. But I love the tractor runs. Last up, welcome to Women in Moto Show. So 16th and 17th of August, Thruxton Racecourse. A fun moto weekend for all, the focused on bringing the motorcycling community together. Tickets available for purchase on their website, and that is womenmoto.co.uk. I've got to say the sausages are working their way through. He's a bit fruity at the minute.
No, do you know, he's fallen asleep again, as he did on me. That's not looking
Front
like
end might have fallen asleep. The back end's definitely still working.
That doesn't look like a rat-catching dog at the moment.
He ain't got a
looks
rat
like a
catching
dog.
him, has he?
No, he hasn't. Well, hopefully we'll be back on the outside line air soon. We love bringing you this, but we could do with, if possible, a bit of sponsorship along the way. If you fancy sponsoring any of the segments, then we can give you a shout out. Let us know if you can help out in any way.
There's costs involved in this, Jack. Obviously, my workshop shithole doesn't come cheap. We've got Sprouty's wages, obviously.
He's perked up again now.
So if you fancy getting involved, you know where to contact us.
In the meantime, thanks to everybody who's helped to put this on. Thank you very much, James, for your company.
Jack.
Thank you very much, Sprouticus. You've been great. Good company. We'll have you back.
Therapy dog.
Therapy dog. A good therapy dog. And from me, Jack Bernicle, thanks very much. See you next time.